This is a mock intake session for HUSC Class 244, Delivery of Addiction Services. The session you're about to see now is entirely fictitious. Anyone coming across this, we're not discussing real problems. This is a mock intake session, and none of this is meant to be taken seriously outside of the classroom. That said, we're going to give it a start, and we'll get going. So, Ryan, I just want to let you know this is going to be an intake for a treatment. We want to learn about as much as possible about you, what works for you, what doesn't, background, all that stuff, family history, drug use, basic questions you can kind of expect. They will go into depth though, so feel free to take your time responding, and if you're uncomfortable responding to certain questions, just let me know. And then I want you to know there's no judgment coming from me. I have been where you are right now, so there's nothing you could say that's going to make me angry at you or upset or judge or look down on you. In fact, I'm glad you're here today, because I think stepping forward for treatment is a huge thing, and you should be applauded for that. Now that said, we're just going to start with why you're here with treatment. Do you have any legal issues? Is that what brought you in?
Not legal. It's actually been health issues that have finally come up.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some legal history many years ago, but nothing at present that has come up.
Do you mind telling me exactly what the medical issue is?
It's cirrhosis.
Oh no.
So I had some early stages from a long history of drinking alcohol.
Oh. Again, I'm glad you're here, because that's a serious issue, and that's definitely something we want to get you treatment for. Absolutely. And give me a background on your family. Do you have any siblings? How did you grow up?
So I grew up as an only child.
Mm-hmm.
My parents ended up divorcing sometime in high school. And they are both now both deceased.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on my own.
Okay.
I don't have any other family or anything that I'm close to.
Mm-hmm.
So aunts and uncles out there, I don't talk to them, so I wouldn't even know how to reach out.
Fair enough. Do you have any, aside from the cirrhosis, is there any other reason? Do you want to quit drinking alcohol? Is that the goal?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I would like to quit. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I have not stopped drinking yet.
Mm-hmm.
But after being hospitalized and having some complications,
Mm-hmm.
I know it's something I need to take seriously.
Well, I'm glad you are taking it seriously, because that does sound like a significant issue. Now, so we don't have any family in the picture. What about friends, romantic partners, anything like that?
So I am divorced.
Okay.
As far as friends, I would call them friends.
Mm-hmm.
They're drinking buddies.
Okay.
It's they're not people that I could rely on now
Mm-hmm.
as a support.
Gotcha.
Because I would just be exposing myself
Mm-hmm.
to alcohol. So
I'm sure ridicule and shame kind of works into
so
it.
I feel very alone in this process, because I don't really have, I've damaged my marriage, and I don't have any real friends that I could rely on to help me.
Well, again, I think it's great that you're here, and we'll be doing our best to give you the support you lack currently. And I'm sorry to hear that most of your friends are just basically drinking buddies. So you would say you don't have anyone that really knows you, you're completely open with?
The closest person would have been my ex-wife,
Mm-hmm.
and that I burned that bridge.
Okay.
So
So it was not an amicable divorce?
no.
Okay. again. Sorry to hear that. Now, do you have any kids?
No, no children.
single?
No
Single?
children.
All right. And where were you born and raised?
So I grew up out in the country in northern Maryland.
Okay.
So looking back, a fairly uneventful childhood until I got a little bit older.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And have you been in Maryland most of your life?
Yes.
Okay. Just like moving around here to there.
Yeah, bouncing
You know.
around, and but I've stayed pretty local.
Okay.
So.
All right. What's your living situation like? Do you have any problem with housing? Are you comfortable where
I'm
you're at?
currently okay housing wise. I have an apartment. I live on my own. At this point in time, it's stable.
Okay.
But if things don't get under control, that could change.
So you feel pretty secure at the moment.
At the moment.
But you're anxious about what might be coming down the
Correct.
pike.
Yes.
And you're associating that with the drinking itself, or are you worried about the cirrhosis making medical bills?
It's a combination of both.
Okay.
Yes. What I get from drinking and how that helps me, but also is hurting me, and kind of both sides of that coin.
Okay.
What life will be like without alcohol.
Mhm.
If I can achieve that, on top of if my health doesn't improve,
Mhm.
can I have an income if I can't?
Sure.
I'm not healthy enough to do
Yeah.
anything.
No, absolutely. Always a concern. Do you have any like gender preferences, like pronouns or anything you
No.
prefer being called?
No.
Are you gay, straight?
Straight.
Straight.
Yes.
And we talked about you were married. What's your sex life like now? Is it are you out there?
Not
Or
if I'm out drinking, it's
Mhm.
kind of where the night ends up where the night ends up.
okay, so it can be kind of
it-
slapdash.
yes,
and
yes.
See what happens.
Sometimes that can leads to some riskier behaviors.
Mhm.
It just kind of depends, but it's every night drinking is its own. Just
Yeah.
kind of see where it goes.
Gotcha. Do you practice safe sex?
I try, but
Mhm.
it's again,
Yeah.
I'm not always thinking so clearly.
And can you remember a lot of the details?
For the
What
most
you get up
part,
to?
yes.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of issues with blacking out.
All
Like
right.
I might pass out, but I remember the events of the evening.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your honesty there. And regarding the history of use, when did you start drinking?
I started in high school. Just typical high school drinking. Didn't
Like-
really,
Were you 16 or older?
Yes,
Or?
maybe 15-ish,
Okay.
15, 16, somewhere in
Mhm.
that. Might have been a little before I started driving.
Mhm.
But again, just hang out with some friends if we could get our hands on a 6-pack or something, or a case of
Okay.
beer, and just kind of hanging. At that point, it was just some weekend fun,
Yeah.
being young,
Mhm.
youthful exuberance.
Getting into something kind of
Yeah.
taboo and,
Right.
and getting to enjoy
Right.
it. I understand. And that I guess that's a feeling that hasn't carried on into adulthood, unfortunately.
No,
Yeah.
it just kind of, college, it
Mhm.
became, more frequent, and then it just kind of,
Snowballed
Yeah.
from there.
yeah.
You mentioned you drinking every night, so it's daily. for you?
Yes,
Okay.
it's daily now, yes.
Do you notice any issues when you stop drinking? Have you ever paused and
I've
how
had
has your body reacted?
periods where maybe just like for a day or two, if I don't get my hands on something, I can get a little bit jittery. But
Okay.
I drink so consistently and have been drinking so steadily that there really haven't been many periods of not drinking.
Okay. So we're not exactly sure what would happen if
Correct.
we
Yes.
pause the alcohol
Correct.
intake. Okay. Are there any other substances that you use just here or there recreationally in addition to alcohol?
Nicotine.
Yeah.
I smoke cigarettes and vape. It kind of can be
Oh,
a
yeah.
little of, you know,
Smoking on the outside, vaping on the
yes,
inside.
kind of thing. So nicotine.
Okay.
I have dabbled in other drugs here and there. You know, again, sometimes a night takes me somewhere, and you know,
Mhm.
so I've dabbled with ecstasy,
Okay.
cocaine, acid. You know, just
Mhm.
like some random. You know,
Do you know say where the ecstasy? How often you've taken it? When was the last time?
maybe a handful of times, and I'd say it's maybe been a year or so
Okay.
since I've used that.
Mhm.
Again, it's just kind of
Yeah, so you're
I'm
not
not
out there
seeking it.
looking for it. You
Correct.
Just, when it comes to you, you
yes.
generally enjoy it. And what about cocaine? When was the last time you used that?
That was about 3 months maybe.
Mhm.
And again, same thing. I'm not out seeking it. Like
Mhm.
alcohol is my
Are
my
you
choice,
are you
but-
staying up all night till it's gone, or are you leaving whenever you just kind of feel like you're bored?
Yeah, it just kind of depends. I'm a bit of a loner, so it really is just kind of what I feel like in the
Situation.
moment. Yes, very dependent on the situation.
Okay.
So
And what was the other one we discussed? LSD.
right.
When was the first time you took that?
That was when I was younger.
Okay.
And I maybe a couple of other times
Mhm.
in my 20s, 30s, but
Count on one hand.
yeah,
maybe
probably,
two?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
And when was the last time you said in your 20s?
yeah, probably 15 years
Okay.
plus.
All right. And anything else substance-wise that that might be an issue for you?
No, not that. Yeah, just the nicotine, but that's
Yeah. No, I'm sure that both how do they say it? The cause and solution to all of your
Yes.
problems. So I'm glad we're able to discuss honestly the substance you've been using, and when you started and last use, all that stuff is very helpful for us. Have there been any negative outcomes though in regards to cocaine, MDMA?
Not those specifically.
Mhm.
It's the alcohol is what
Yeah,
has
that's-
led to the. I would consider them secondary. Like, they specifically have not resulted in anything. But I know that the use of them is
Sure.
risky in conjunction with alcohol.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
No, absolutely. I'm not a doctor, but I am aware that there's some sort of an element of toxicity that the liver must deal with when you mix cocaine and alcohol. So that's certainly something we'll work on. And so I'm just curious if someone just showed up while you were relatively sober and was like, I have this cocaine, do you want to buy it, do you want to do it? I mean, what would your instinct be?
I'd probably be really tempted.
Mm.
It might, if I were sober, it might depend on who the person was. I might have a little more forethought in the moment, but I would suspect I would not be sober if I ran into that situation.
yeah.
I'd already be
In an environment where
Yes.
that's already prevalent.
correct.
Okay. Now, as far as treatment history, have you been to residential treatment?
Never. I have never received any treatment for this at all.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm
from a
sorry to hear
substance
that.
use standpoint.
Mm-hmm. And why haven't you prior to now?
I haven't really felt a need in a way, I guess you could say. I've managed to maintain a degree of functionality. So even though my marriage was impacted, been able to have an income and, you know, for all intents and purposes, a lot of people might appear to be rather normal and functional and not have a drinking problem.
So you'd say most of your issues are social in nature when it comes to alcohol.
Yes.
And then of course the health, and then is there anything that would have kept you from pursuing therapy or treatment for alcoholism in the past?
I mean,
Do you have any feelings about it?
I'm pretty ashamed of it in a way. You know, it's not something you expect to become. You know, I don't expect to have a drinking problem. It's not something I envisioned for myself. So there's a lot of shame around that, and because I don't have a support system that kind of makes it harder. It's you know, almost would rather drown my sorrows.
It just becomes the simple solution
to a bigger problem, a much bigger problem.
All right, well, that's something we'll definitely work on, and I want to just let you know, I've certainly been there as well, that feeling of shame, and that, like, you know, I've somehow failed life by developing this problem, but I don't want you to think too negatively about yourself. What you're doing here today is very positive. So while you might not brag about going into treatment for alcoholism, you can be proud, you know, for making that first step. And have there been any meetings? Did you ever go to any 12-step stuff?
I've never been. I don't have. I'm not a religious person, and the nature and content of that has never sat with me. So that does not appeal to me, and I'm just
If there were alternatives to 12-step programs that were secular, would you be interested in those? Like there's a thing called the SMART program that you know, removes a lot of the religiosity from
potentially. I'm not familiar with that, you know, but I would be open to learning about other options that might be out there.
Yeah, because I think it's going to be important for us to develop a support system for you, and sometimes the best way to do that is to, you know, meet with other people who are struggling in the same way. Because at least you don't have to hide yourself. You can be who you are, you know, and no one's, again, going to judge you because everyone's got their own, you know, demons to deal with. So as far as your medical history is concerned, let's go back to when you're young. Any developmental issues?
No.
No?
Okay. That was all, as far as I'm aware, that was all normal.
Okay. And any injuries or diagnoses as a young person?
I had some anxiety, you know, in high school and stuff. You know, looking back now, it was probably more significant than I realized. I kind of looked at it as just youthful, you know, just anxious about life in the world. And I've always had a lot of trouble sleeping.
Okay.
So that's always been an issue.
Now, have you ever received any, we know cirrhosis is an issue, any other medical diagnoses, like is insomnia, is that something you've seen a doctor for?
Yes, I've gotten medicine for that.
Okay.
I've indicated anxiety and stuff, so I have taken some medicine in the past for that, but I don't at present.
Okay. Are you taking any medications at all?
I have been prescribed things for cirrhosis from a recent hospitalization where it was diagnosed and I had symptoms, so I'm taking some medicines for that, but I'm still drinking.
Are you taking the medication regularly? Does drinking mess with your dosage schedule at all?
I probably miss some doses here and there because of that, but I'm trying to stay on top of it. Yes.
Okay. And what? So for the cirrhosis, I guess you're taking like a specific thing would be like the seafloor or something.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can't remember the names off the top
Okay.
of my head, and I need to. I'm in the process of setting up like follow-up treatment
Okay.
to like stay on top of it. It's all very recent that it's all come up.
Do you have a private care physician or?
I'm
do
working
you-
on setting that up
Okay.
with my insurance.
Mhm.
Yes, so I think I have an appointment coming up in a couple weeks.
Okay. So you haven't seen a doctor in?
I would sometimes, would doctor hop to get some medicine if I needed, like for sleep. I would get some Ambien or something, but no consistent treatment.
Okay.
Just kind of like, if I wanted to get my hands on something,
Mhm.
I might see someone, but I want to make that.
Okay.
I want to
I-
establish treatment with
Yeah,
someone.
no, I think one of the good things about going into a treatment center is they'll get you all looked over. We can do blood panels. Are you worried about any STDs?
I'm not at this point in time. But I would get myself tested just
Yeah.
to be sure.
Maybe a little nervous.
Yes,
when-
because of
Okay.
some of my riskier behaviors.
Okay. Now, any major issues of any health issues amongst your family before they passed?
So both of my parents passed from cancer.
Oh, all right. I'm
so-
sorry to hear that. Really.
Thank you. They were they were different cancers. I am struggling to remember which was which, but they each passed from cancer, lung and GI cancer.
Okay. Yeah, well, we can look into that a little bit more and get specifics when we put together your medical history. Any other illnesses in the family? Your siblings, aunts, uncles?
Not that I'm aware of.
Mhm.
Again, no siblings, and I don't have any relationship with any aunts or uncles. So
Okay.
I'm not aware of anything else.
And any problems related to the MDMA? Do you ever have any like bad reactions or?
No, I've
No.
not. No, I've never had any like adverse reactions to anything. Just get a little
Little
crazier,
weird.
a little
Mhm.
weird. Yeah. maybe.
Okay.
So
And so you're not on any medications at all right now
just some
for the
cirrhosis.
Reif,
Yes.
the cirrhosis.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's it.
All right. Well, that is good to know. And again, I really do appreciate you being open with me about all this stuff. I know it's a lot of questions. Before we go into some more issues, have you noticed any benefits from taking that medicine? Do you feel a little better?
Not really.
Mhm.
Some of the swelling and stuff is a little bit better
Okay.
because my legs were very swollen when and some yellowing of the skin
Oh,
that
wow.
got me to the
That's
hospital.
what I should do.
So that's a little bit better, but again, I'm still drinking. And the doctor made it clear, like if you don't stop, the symptoms you can only control so much, even with medication.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to ask you. With that medical diagnosis, is there anything else the doctors told you about what kind of behavior or what you should or shouldn't do in regard to your issue?
The biggest thing was stopping drinking. They did talk about some of the risks that there could be, like cognitive problems.
Mhm.
If the liver's not processing,
Gotcha.
things correctly, like and different. I don't understand all of it, to be quite honest.
Has that issue led to any like hypertension, physical
The
symptoms?
There's some blood pressure issues, I think, but it was more like I was yellowing and had like fluid buildup in my body,
Okay.
basically.
Mhm.
So I think one of the medicines I'm on is like a diuretic
Okay.
to keep that from building up again.
Okay. And is that something you take in addition to the meds, or is it all the same?
It's all like, it's all part of the,
Okay.
it's like a several medications to kind of
Okay.
treat the different things. So, but they're all kind of working in concert
All right.
to maintain.
Well, it'd be really helpful for us just to make sure we get all the names and dosages and impacts they have. Has been helpful, because if we're going to bring you in, we want to make sure we can do continuing care that's already been prescribed by a medical professional. So if you could do me a favor and bring like your medication in, or your paperwork, so we
Absolutely.
can look at it. And I mean, it's very easy to forget name of medications. Their names are so strange.
Yeah,
sometimes.
yes,
But and if you don't feel good about having to take meds, sometimes you just put them in the back of your mind, and only when you have to. So as long as we can do that, that'll be very important moving forward. Now, as far as mental health issues, again, anything in your childhood growing up that was a developmental issue, or
not developmental, but again, the anxiety has always kind of been a thing, and maybe if I were to look back, that might have been something that increased my drinking, was that I felt more relaxed socially and around other people if I was a little bit intoxicated.
Okay.
Because if I was sober, I would feel really anxious and uncomfortable.
Be a bit of a wallflower.
Yeah.
Now, when you were younger, did you ever have a therapist or a psychiatrist?
No, not when I was younger. My
Okay.
parents, with their marriage, divorce issues,
Just didn't have time. to help.
and of course, only child, I kind of did my own thing.
And you mentioned insomnia as an issue. Are you able to are you able to get to sleep and then you wake up after an hour, or are you just unable to sleep at
It's
all?
getting to sleep
Okay.
is the hard part, and again, like, that was something that also helped. The drinking helped when I was younger,
Sure.
especially
Depressing.
just drink a little bit till I
Mhm.
got sleepy enough, then could finally fall asleep.
And have you ever had a doctor prescribe anything for the insomnia?
Again, like when I would, I've gone to some doctors here and there
Mhm.
over the years to get some Ambien or something like that,
Okay.
or Lunesta or something to like
Mhm.
help me sleep. But I end up, turning
The
that down.
problem continues.
Yeah.
And now are you taking any of those right
Not now, no.
Okay. And when was the last time you think you
Maybe a year ago,
Okay.
because the drinking's increased,
Since then?
since then.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. And as someone who personally has dealt with insomnia a lot in my life, I know how just draining it can be. And I'm glad you at least went and saw some medical professionals. You can debate what your outcomes you are trying to get for. Wouldn't want to be I guess you could say, drug seeking behavior, but yeah, it's definitely something I'm glad you had some diagnosis on. And as far as family history, what was your childhood like with your parents? It sounds like they were pretty distant. Is that
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Dad, just not around very often. Just
Mhm.
always working.
what did he do?
He was a mechanical contractor, so he
Okay.
did a lot of work in businesses, residential. Helping
Mhm.
people with HVAC, plumbing. He could kind of do it all. So
Yeah.
he's and always willing to work.
Yeah.
You know, if someone called him because something broke at 8 o'clock at night and they didn't have heat, he might be right back out the door
Really?
to go help that person out.
So he worked long hours
Yeah.
and sometimes weekends too.
Yes.
Okay.
Family felt secondary.
Got you. And when he was around, how did he interact with you? What was the, typical
Pretty distant.
interaction? Yeah.
You know, and I, had already kind of started to do my own thing
Mhm.
because he wasn't around. So it was very distant. Even when he was present, he wasn't present.
So you could say he wasn't emotionally available
No,
at all.
not at all. Not
Okay.
at all. Not
All
at all.
right. Well, that's tough. Every kid should have someone they can talk to and maybe give them a little advice. It sounds like your father really work was his way of avoiding issues at home, and that kind of behavior, kicked the notice and lead into the same medical issues you're dealing with. And as far as your mother, what was your relationship with her like?
Again, it was kind of distant. She seemed to have her own emotional issues, and as it related to my father, like as a kid, I knew there were problems, but I couldn't understand what it was. And now, like looking back, I think she felt very alone because he was never around. And as I got a little bit older, I was off with my friends and doing my thing. And so I think she was kind of on her own as well in a way.
Now, when who was it that passed first of the two, mom and dad?
My father passed away first.
Okay, and at what age were you?
I was 27-ish, I believe.
Okay. Were you involved in his care at all? Did
No.
you know?
No, not at all. I wouldn't say estranged, but not a lot of contact at that point.
Not a lot of emotional
No.
connection. Okay. And were you able to, talk with him before he passed? Did you?
No.
No.
Did not. No.
Okay. How do you feel about that? Do you?
I don't even know what I would have said.
Okay.
Because there was just not a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of another person.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe there's more to it, but right now, like I don't even.
Yeah, it's not something that you dwell on.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, same with your mom. What age were you when she passed?
So it's closer to 30-ish, because it was, I guess, she passed several years after him.
And
So-
exactly, I'm sorry I had to cut you off there. When did they divorce?
They divorced in college, when I was in college.
So like 18, 19?
Yeah, somewhere in that 19-ish, range. I think it was maybe my second year of college.
Mhm.
So,
What was the dynamic there? Was it amicable, or they?
I don't know all the details.
Mhm.
I only kind of know what my mom shared because I did have a bit of a relationship still with her.
Mhm.
So I just know that there were a lot of problems and around him never being around, basically.
Sure.
I think, I don't know if he just got tired of it and now I was out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no need to stay together for the kid
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
Sure.
And I think it just kind of bubbled over.
No, that's a very common issue, I think, with kids leave the nest, and the parents have to revert back to a romantic relationship and dynamic, and sometimes they're not able to. So
Yeah, I can only imagine if my father were still working incessantly and she was home alone.
Yeah.
with nothing to do. So.
Well, you mentioned you were a little closer with your mother. Is that like were you able to like talk about feelings or real life things, or did she?
Not too much. She talked about things, and she's a little emotionally unstable, and I think just things took a toll. So we had a relationship, but it felt more one-sided.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I was almost expected to be there for her rather than her being there for me.
But that could make sense. I mean, when your dad's not there, she can focus on you, and you're meant to be the audience, and you don't get to really express yourself. You're taking on their issues. So I can understand how you get develop some anxieties and loneliness when you just don't have anyone to talk to. Any close friends though when you were growing up?
Yeah, I had some close friends growing up, high school buddies and stuff. But as we got older, out of college, and
Lose
people
touch.
kind of lose touch, go separate ways, and so I just kind of lost touch with everybody, and just kind of went from there.
Well, any friends from work? Any like?
No, not really. I work independently, doing some consulting. So
You're not in an office.
yeah,
environment or
not
anything.
right. I don't have coworkers and things. I just have people that I work, that I help with their IT stuff and do what I need to do. But I generally work on my own, short of my clients.
Okay. And you mentioned there's no aunts or uncles you're tight with, no cousins.
Nope.
No, all right.
Nope.
And
Yeah, very much on my own.
so would you say maybe your romantic partners were the only people you've ever been close to? How many have you had? Prior to getting married?
I couldn't tell you before we got married.
Okay.
I was married for about 6 years, 5-6 years. Met through drinking, but it wasn't a problem for my ex the way it would be for you or me, and was for me.
But she drank regularly, or just semi-regularly?
Yeah, but she was okay not drinking.
She didn't fall down drunk?
No.
Blackout or anything? Did you ever able to talk to her about wanting to stop drinking? Did you ever mention it to anybody?
No, I never really wanted to stop. It was just kind of like part of my life. In my head, I had an income, I was married, I met someone, like I didn't see anything being a problem.
Sure. And I mean, unfortunately, mainstream media often illustrates addiction as like, living on the street and looking terrible, and it I think undermines the message that lots of people struggle with these problems, and you don't have to be stereotypical of an addict, rock bottom, destitute, or legal issues to justify having a problem. So don't feel like you're like less than as far as other people having more serious problems. It's a major health issue for you, and we're going to do our best to give you some support and maybe broaden your social circle a little bit to include people that don't drink. Because I assume if you were to leave treatment, would you just go back to hanging out with the same people?
Probably.
Yeah.
That's probably where it end up.
Okay.
You know, I have my bars and stuff that I go to, and I, you know, run into
Sure.
the same people.
That's where you get your
Yeah.
social interaction.
Yes.
Okay. Any history of addiction in your family that you're aware of?
Yeah. No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And did either of your parents have like an a more significant impact in your life as far as emotional issues, or you know, was there any anger in the house? Did you have to
There
be
was
wary of your parents? Or
Yeah, I mean, there was some anger, you know, mainly around between my mom and dad, of my dad not being around.
okay.
But it wasn't that terrible.
Mhm.
I don't remember any like really big specific emotional issues or anything. It was just kind of everyone was doing their own thing.
Mhm.
So it was more of a lack of emotional
So you kind of like
support.
grew up as strangers in
Yes.
your own house.
Yes.
That's unfortunate. And I'm glad you're able to come here and again talk about that, because that can be difficult. And most people, you know, when they try and go into recovery, they want, you know, everyone around them, family, be supportive. But you know, you don't. That helps, but you don't have to have it to succeed. So I don't want you to think that that's going to be a major issue for you.
But I don't think I'd want it from them if they were around,
Mhm.
because of the lack of any faith
Yeah.
in their ability anyway, from what I remember as a kid.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that way towards most authority figures? Do you like just think of people as
Not necessarily, but it's hard. I feel a disconnect, like
Mhm.
with other people,
okay?
because I've just kind of always felt like I was on my own,
Mm-hmm.
and just have relied on
Sure.
drinking, and you know.
No, I mean, if you grow up in a household where you're not allowed to, or where there's no opportunity to express yourself in a meaningful and authentic way, yeah, you just get nervous. You don't know how to behave in social situations. So alcohol is you know, something that, like you said, eases those anxieties for you, and hopefully we can get you to a point where you don't have to rely on the alcohol anymore. You can feel more self-sufficient. And we've talked about this already, about support systems. Do you have do you see therapists regularly?
That is again something I'd like to
Okay.
maybe get engaged with,
Okay.
to help with all of this.
Sure.
Because I'm not going to know what to do
Mhm.
with my emotions
Sure,
if I'm
sure.
sober.
You-
Like that, the idea of
Mhm.
facing that is terrifying.
Yeah. And I mean, learning to process those emotions is, I think, going to be really important for you, because when you're unable to and they build up in your mind, that's where like anxiety just blossoms. And I can understand that you're scared, because that's been your support for so long. So, but it's possible, you know. It's what we're here for. And as intimidating as it might be, as long as you're committed to it, you know, you can get the help you need. And so we can definitely get you connected with one of our therapists. Have you had any psychiatrists?
Never before, no.
Okay. Would you want to see a psychiatrist regarding the
I would.
anxiety?
I would be.
insomnia?
I would consider it.
Mhm.
You know, yeah, like I never really thought about like medication in that way
Mm-hmm.
of, so it would, but if that's something that would help, I would try to trust,
Sure.
medical professionals if that was, something that could help me be successful.
Now, was it just kind of like indifference, or were there any like financial limitations for you seeing a doctor?
No, not at this point in time. That could change
Okay.
if I were unable to support myself.
Mhm.
But at this point, financially I should be okay.
Okay. So it was just more just lack of interest,
Yeah.
or feeling like there was no reason.
Yes,
to.
kind of like I said, I didn't really think I had a problem
Mhm.
per se, so I never really thought like I would need psychiatric treatment.
Sure. And you said you have seen a doctor regarding the cirrhosis. Did they find anything else that they were concerned
No,
about?
at this point
No?
it was just like
You gotta,
gotta stop drinking.
Yeah.
My liver needs me to stop drinking.
So did they like show you any lesions?
They just went over the findings of the
Okay.
hospital that and get in with somebody to get
Okay.
stay on top of this and the labs and monitoring it and again stop drinking.
Yeah. Okay. And is there any like, do you still talk with your ex-wife? Would she be supportive of what you're doing?
I wouldn't want to
No.
involve her.
Mhm.
I don't think that I think that's better left
Okay.
in the past. She might be an okay support, but I don't know if I would want her to be that person.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know, but there might be some shame around that too, and having to face that again almost.
Or like admit you were wrong.
Yes.
She's
Yeah.
critical of drinking. Well, again, I'm really grateful you're being so honest and open, because that's, the more information we can get, the better we can cater to your treatment plan. So I would suggest, if you're not interested in 12-step programs, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know, like I said, you think I mentioned there's some
There are other
religious
ones, yeah.
ones, so I think I would be very much people tell me kind of at least get me going in a certain direction because I wouldn't even, on my own I wouldn't even know where to begin.
In addition to the SMART program, I know there are some Buddhist practices, Dharma recovery, that again, it's not exactly a religious doctrine, but it kind of leans into mindfulness and like meditation and learning to control your urges and to process your emotions.
That might be something a little more up my alley.
Yeah.
I think.
Would you be interested in talking to like a spiritual person? You're not interested in talking to a priest or?
I don't think
any
so.
clergy?
I don't know if it would, where they're coming from would really sit with me
Sure,
in a useful way.
Mhm.
But I'm also not opposed to, other opinions and thoughts on matters.
Yeah, generally, we have a array of religious. I can't just think of the word. We have people who are
Just like different denominations of,
Yeah.
of
we have, Jewish, Catholic, Protestant. We have a Muslim contact if that's the case, and then we have a general spiritualist, and they're the ones that avoid doctrine and dogma, but they talk about a deeper connection to the world around you and people in your
That
life.
might be more up my
Okay.
alley.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that, because some people just shut it down entirely. They don't want to do anything like that. How about legal histories? You mentioned something back in the past.
Just some DUIs when I was
Okay.
younger too.
Mhm.
You know, they were kind of spread out, and I was able to kind of, you know, no time in jail or anything like that. Just, you know, some
Mhm.
community service. And
What could you specify exactly when was the first one and when was the second?
I believe the first one was sometime towards the end of my college days, and then again maybe when I was about, it was a little before my father passed away, so maybe 25, 26,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
And in your I'm sorry, I should have asked this earlier. Your age now?
44.
44. So it's been a while since
Yes.
you've had those issues.
Yes.
Do you still drive regularly, or have you found a way to manage?
I don't do a ton of driving, so I've been able to kind of manage a little bit, but I still sometimes do drive, and I probably should not be behind the wheel.
No. Again, I'm glad you can admit that, because a lot of people pretend it helps them, or they need it, or it's not a big deal. And did you serve any probation, suspended sentence for
Just
these?
it was like a community service,
Okay.
like a probationary type thing, and then I had to do some community service hours,
Right.
and that was it.
And did they make you go to meetings, I assume?
So they did not make me do meetings. It was just the community service. So
Oh,
so that's
okay.
why I've never done any. Like I've never actually gone to like a 12 step. It was. I was just kind of able to kind of skirt through. No, I didn't hurt anybody. It's just I got pulled over and had been, so I guess I lucked out. Maybe that's part of why it's also gone on so long.
Yeah. When sometimes when we get away with it, it makes it feel like less of a danger or less significant to our lives. You certainly sound very lucky, because there's a lot of states that have like 3 strikes and you lose your license, and insurance can be impossible to get. So we definitely want to keep you from
I would
experiencing future legal issues.
I would say, looking back, I would agree. I was rather fortunate that it wasn't a lot worse than it was.
Yeah. And so you completed all your requirements for
Yes.
both of those
Yep.
issues? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any other legal issues? You mentioned divorce. How long did that take you and your ex?
It was once it was done. It was we just kind of went right through and proceeded with everything. So it was more the divorce itself happened quickly. It was
The lead up to it
lead
was
up
the rocky
was-
part.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Was there any criteria as far as when you divorced? Any stipulations put on you or her?
No,
that-
we were, we didn't have children. There's nothing to, she got the house and I just moved out, and then we, so.
All right. And when you did get the DUIs when you were younger, did they put any like a breathalyzer on your car or anything like that?
The second time I did have a breathalyzer for, I think it was 6 months or something, as kind of part of the probation, and then once I
blow into it and then you start the car. Yeah.
and it's so I was able to work around that as well.
Yeah. Find someone else maybe to do it for you.
So, but yeah.
Okay. as far as those people that would have helped you, you know, get a skirt around that, you know, are those kind of people still in your life?
Not in a good way.
Okay.
You know, again, like drinking buddies,
Mhm.
you know, help me get through the breathalyzer so we can go out drinking because they maybe hadn't drank yet.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, the ride or something.
Mhm.
So,
So wrong kind of
yes,
support.
yes, exactly.
All
Yes.
right. Now, as far as your job is concerned, now you say you working from home mainly?
Yes, I do a lot
Mhm.
nowadays. A lot of it is online. It's software related and IT stuff. So a lot of it can be done remotely.
Mhm.
You know, video conferencing, things like that. So it's very, very easy to drink while I work.
Sure.
Because I'm not.
There's no one
Yeah,
oversight.
yes,
Really.
and I can do it from home.
Mhm.
So you know, and if I do have to meet with a client or something, you know, a dinner, a business dinner or something.
Sure.
So
Sure.
having
Kind
a
of give
drink.
you cover.
Exactly.
For,
Exactly.
you know, maybe having an extra glass of wine
Yes.
or two.
And helps, you know, me with my anxiety with the
Mhm.
social interaction, just to be a little, you
Yeah.
know, a little loosened up.
Sure. I mean, a lot of people are social drinkers, you know, to loosen themselves up. That's pretty, you know, pretty typical. Has alcohol, though, had any negative impacts on your job? Have you lost any contracts? Did you like fail any deadlines? Did you make a mistake on the IT end?
Never had any big mistakes. Sometimes I might be a little behind on some deadlines or something, but I can usually navigate that. I know how to
Talk
you know,
your way
right
out
to
of it,
kind of
kinda.
get my way through it.
Mhm.
So it's like I said, it looked very functional.
Mhm.
Part of why I didn't think, and maybe even still don't think I have a problem
Mhm.
exactly.
Sure. Now, as far as your job is concerned, if you go into treatment, are you going to be able to return to that line of work? Are you can take like a sabbatical, or
I
is it
should
gonna
be able to. It might be difficult to like, you know, if my clients, if I need to step away, they might find somebody else and not be able to wait for me. So I might lose
Okay.
some business if I had to step away for an extended period,
Mhm.
which is another thing I'm not sure how to navigate
Yeah.
in this process because that's my livelihood.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I might be able to step away and then reestablish
Sure.
contacts as well.
If you when you think of yourself as not drinking, do you think you'd be more productive, and like you have more clients, maybe maybe a
No,
smoother
I
operation?
actually think I struggle more
Okay.
because I think I'd have difficulty engaging
Sure.
with people to,
Mhm.
you know, and I don't know if I'd come off as competent as I am because I'd be very nervous.
Sure.
You know, the
Yeah.
alcohol really helps dull all of that.
Well, I mean, networking is super difficult for certain personality types and people with certain backgrounds. I myself am a terrible, you know, at selling myself. Um, so I could definitely appreciate that that's a hurdle for you, and that might be a trigger, basically, that we're going to have to work on because, you know, just thinking about it, does it make you anxious? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much.
All right. And as far as other jobs, have you had any in the past? Did you have like other jobs growing up?
You know, just some like stuff when I was in high school and college, just, you know, working at a restaurant or bar or something,
Mhm.
you know, just to have some money, help through school and stuff. But then I, you know, studied computers and
Mhm.
grew up at a good time for computers.
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
able to kind of
Yep.
ride that.
You definitely rode the wave at the right time in that regard. As do you have a favorite job you've had? Do you like your current job?
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I, work is, I just do it because I need to do something,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something I was able to do and good at, and, just being out drinking and socializing, it just kind of like happened
for you.
and just kind of go with it.
Yeah. If you're able to stop the drinking, is there an ideal type of work? Do you want to continue with what you're doing? Do you have aspirations to do anything else?
I don't even know. I don't think I could think that far ahead.
Okay.
And I would need an income, so I would probably do what I know to start.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I've even
thought that far ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that'll be something we can focus on as treatment continues. I know that you mentioned you're not sure you have a problem. What makes you think you might not have a problem?
Because I do all of the things society expects me to do. I have a place to live.
You're functional.
I'm functional. Yes, I look, so if not for the cirrhosis and going into the hospital, I don't even know if I'd be here right now.
Okay. And you mentioned also that it's kind of intimidating and scary to think of life without alcohol.
Yeah, I almost don't remember not drinking.
So have you had any periods of sobriety, like where you stopped for a week, 2 months? No?
Nothing.
Have you ever attempted to?
No.
Okay. How do you feel like right now about what this process is and what you're going to expect in treatment? Like, are you like feeling hopeful because you have help, or are you just
No.
you just feel like it's a big disruption to your life?
Yes. Yeah, I don't even know. It's almost kind of a lot. I think I'm more focused on the physical health. That's the scariest thing almost to me. So, I'm not really. Otherwise, I'm kind of anxious about it and a little scared.
Sure. Well, that's good to know, because if fear is a negative emotion that pushes you back towards alcohol, working on the source of that fear and giving yourself some autonomy and freedom away from that crutch, I think is going to be more helpful than you realize. Definitely, but I can totally understand feeling really uncertain. And is there anything else narcotic wise? I mean, I've noticed you're vaping quite a bit. Are you worried about anything besides alcohol coming back into your life?
Not really, unless if I go back to alcohol, that's when other substances might become reintroduced. I don't envision myself. Alcohol's always been my choice.
Okay.
When it comes to substances.
Have you in the past ever had a broken leg or no? So you've never been on any opiate or medication?
No.
Okay. All right. What is your primary motivation? Just to get deal with cirrhosis?
Yes, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what prompted everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I don't even know if I'd be here if not for that experience. It was scary to be in the hospital.
So is it fair to say you don't really want to stop drinking, but you have to?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, a fair
assessment.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, I appreciate you being real honest with me. I think it's something we can work with. And as far as aside from the drinking, is there something in your life and that fear? Is there something in your life that you think is a strength, or something you can bring to treatment that would inspire you or give you some strength to move forward?
No, I don't even know where.
No.
Not really. No, I don't have a ton of faith in myself that way.
Okay.
So.
I mean, do you follow a regimen in life, like a daily schedule? Is your routine?
No, I don't really have much of a
Okay.
routine. I kind of, again, since I work on my own and it's a lot of on the computers and stuff, it's kind of, I kind of, do my own thing. And, I just kind of have to manage some meetings and things like that here and there. So there's not a lot of structure.
Okay. Because I mean that would, I think, would be helpful when you're able to develop healthier routines, that can go a long way in treating, substance abuse disorders. And I kind of asked this prior. Is there anything else that would be problematic while you're in treatment? Anything else that would be impacted besides?
Not that I can think of.
Maybe some work or loss of clients.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing is having an income, depending on what all of this looks like, and
Yeah, and you mentioned you have no kids.
Yeah.
Single.
So, right.
Okay.
So I don't have any other responsibilities, fortunately.
All right. And no other social obligations.
No.
You don't have. Okay. What, as far as you mentioned before that you're pretty high functioning, are you going to be able to maintain your housing while you're in treatment?
It depends
if
on
you have to go in.
Yeah. What exactly it looks like when 30 days might be a lot easier than a 90 or 6 month. It depends on what we're talking about. I think.
And how committed do you feel to? I know you said you don't really want it, and you don't feel like you really have a problem. But as far as your liver and your cirrhosis is concerned, do you feel confident in your ability to pursue treatment?
I don't even know because I've never not drank, so I don't know what that will
What to
really
expect.
be like. So it's kind of hard. I don't have a reference point.
Okay. Well, if just so you know, if there is any medical needs that you deal with, any symptoms based on withdrawal or lack of alcohol, we do have staff that can assist you and hopefully mitigate any physical symptoms or other problems. What's the best case scenario following treatment for you?
Just that my health is okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of I don't. It's like, and it's hard to even think that far down the line.
Do you want to start like dating seriously again? Anything like that?
Eventually that would, I would like to be able to be social without feeling like I need to be under, the influence of something. But I don't even know what that looks like because I've never really done it.
Do you want to quit with the vaping, or is that something?
Then maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually, but right now that's, I think,
One thing at a time.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you feel these feelings of fear, you don't have any urges for coke or
No.
LSD. It's
No, just
okay.
alcohol.
So it's just purely opportunistic
Yes.
in those regards. Okay. And I guess so. Sobriety basically for you just means physical health and the ability to remain calm and maybe be more socially interactive.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And as I asked before, if you go back to your life after treatment, what are the things you have to watch out for as far as pulling you back into the drinking or negative behaviors?
When I feel kind of lonely and want to be around other people, that I'm gonna want to go to a bar.
Okay.
You know, and or if I alone, like not going to a liquor store and, you know, picking something up to come home and sit alone and drink.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that will be being social without anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's an admirable goal, and people without substance use issues, struggle interacting with others or building relationships. Because I'd very much like to see that for you, where you can rely on somebody else, and that takes a lot of courage when you've grown up the way you have and haven't experienced a lot of intimacy in life, and it makes you nervous. So we can definitely do what we can to address that, and I believe that brings us to the end of our questionnaire, our assessment. Is there anything else you want to add that we didn't go over?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
So no legal issues currently.
Nope, not currently.
No relationships.
No, yeah.
So no relationship
Yes.
problems. Employment stable.
For now, yes.
And then mental health is
The anxiety and the difficulty sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, are the big.
Okay. And then, like you said, most of your other use of substances was opportunistic.
Yeah.
And you did have some drug-seeking behavior, going to doctors to get something.
Yeah.
To help
just
sleep.
Maybe, to help sleep. With
Okay.
anything usually, yeah.
But the primary concern is the alcohol
Yeah.
and what's on your body.
Yeah.
So I think not only do we want to give you mental health support, social support, we want to get you back to being healthy as possible. Because while cirrhosis is extremely concerning, you can heal, you can get better if you stop drinking.
Yeah, that's kind of the way they framed it.
Yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, you'll be less yellow.
Yeah.
If you want to put it that way. Well, all right. If there's nothing else you want to add, I think that covers pretty much a good bit of what we can expect in the future from
All right.
you. And they're going to do a few more things when we're finished here. They might take a blood sample, urinalysis, things like that. You're okay with that?
Yep.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
Well then, that's great. I'm really glad you're here, and I'm glad you're wanting to get some support and some assistance with your problems. And that's what we're here for, and we'll do our best.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, you're very welcome.
All right.
Good. hope this thing is still recording.